Trying to decide what to start with, guys. Hello, hello. I am here for another peaceful pinning. And actually, really quick, let me post this on Facebook really quick. There we go. Guys, if you're watching this after the fact, I say this at the beginning of all of these lately, if you're watching this after the fact, it's not going to be a full step-by-step tutorial. This is more of a just pin along with me kind of thing. But we do have step-by-step tutorials available, this one and other patterns on the channel. So please be sure to check that out. Along with the step-by-step videos, we also have free resources like printable supply lists and templates whenever needed and things like that. So also links to shop and some of these materials will be in the description. Hey Teresa, did you see my post in the Facebook group that I just made? I'm kind of getting my bearings here. I'm gonna do another ribbon ornament today. I'm going for a different vibe though. I did like a country vibe yesterday. The day before that I did like an elegant red and green. And today I chose this ribbon, which is very sheer other than the glittery stripes on here, and I think it's going to be really pretty. We'll see how it turns out. It'll be a little bit hard to work with the sheer, but we're going to do our best. And hello Carmen, good morning. I managed to get on here on time today. I told you guys around 11 Eastern yesterday, and I actually managed to make it happen. I can't believe it. So pairing with this, I'm gonna attempt this gold ribbon, which it looks like however many years ago, I already cut a bunch of the pieces and pinned them to the roll. So we're finally gonna use them if they're not too destroyed. They're looking a little worse for the wear here. And I think, I'm not really sure how I'm gonna make this happen yet. I do expect I'll be removing the wire out of this, and I'll probably be cutting this in half lengthwise as I go to just maximize the amount of ribbon, or just be able to use a little bit less of the ribbon that way. But with this one being thinner, I think I'm gonna cut the edges off and just use the sheer gold part. So we'll see how that ends up working out. Teresa, oh, you got the notification. Okay, awesome. I'm glad that that worked, because it seems like it's like touch and go with YouTube notifications. Hey Phil, good to see you again. Thanks for being here, guys. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start with just the first layer before I even cut any more ribbon out, because I don't know exactly what I'm doing with it yet. And I'm gonna start with, I think, a few of these pieces, cutting the edges off and seeing how that works out. Because this is so sheer that even if I remove the wire, which it looks like I did already out of these pieces, you're still going to be able to see the wire through it, which I don't really want that. And this is it's sheer, but it's busier with these stripes. I think I want to make sure that this is the main focus of the ornament. So I'm going to see how this works out. I'll just cut a couple pieces to start and see what that looks like. Honestly, if I had like a gold fabric that was the right color, that would probably be the ideal thing to pair with this other sheer ribbon, but I don't have anything like that on hand up here in my office, so we're gonna attempt this one. The potential issues with using ribbon this sheer is being able to see the pins through it. Oh, look how loosely woven that is. It pulled right through. We're gonna pick a different spot to pin since I pulled a hole through that. This may or may not work. I might have to try to find something else. That actually looks like it might be okay. Good morning, Sally. As long as I don't have to pull pins out too many times and rearrange things, I think we'll be okay. It's a little sheer. You can see some of the edges here on the sides, but I don't think that's going to be too distracting. Clearly I used this at some point because I can see my fold in it. Tomorrow I might go back to fabric for something, for some pattern. I'm not sure yet, but I've been on this ribbon kick the past couple of days. It's been kind of fun to get into my ribbon collection that I haven't looked at in a while. Okay, I think that's going to work. At least it's working so far, so we'll get a couple more of these pieces. I'm really trying to keep my pins low and close to like where the lines are going to be, because it's these pins down here on the sides that are going to be the ones that'll be most likely to peek out, I think, in the following layers with that sheer ribbon. So we're going to see, it's possible that we might have to like move some pins around a little bit as we add the future layers. So we'll see how that shakes out. Didn't pin that very good over there. Let's fix this. I might have to do 2 pins on this one, which is unfortunate. I can get them really close together. Nope. Okay. All right, let's get this other ribbon out and see what happens. I'm just gonna cut a couple of them to start, because I'm hoping that I can get away with cutting these in half lengthwise to get twice as much out of them. And you know, I'm noticing too, and this is a small thing, but if I cut these in half and I have 4 pieces, I'm just noticing that the stripes are closer to the edge on one side than on the other. That's gonna look different. That's gonna make it look different when it's laying on the ornament. So I think I wanna try to work with that as part of the pattern. So let me cut these in half. This side, the stripe is really close to the gold edge. And this side, there's like 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch away from the gold edge. So I need 8 pieces total for this. So what I'll do is I'll make the first 4 pieces one of these, and I'll make the second 4 pieces the other side. That way it's pretty even in the pattern. I mean, that's not something that you absolutely have to do, but I'm just noticing it, so we'll try to work with it a little bit. Okay, so these are the close side. This is the side that there's a little bit of distance. I'll do these second. So we'll do these first. Hi, Amy. Amy said, are you folding the ribbon in half or just a bit down? Didn't hear you say and cannot tell. Yeah, it's hard to see too because it's so sheer. I didn't fold it quite in half. I folded it almost in half, but I didn't want to fold it so much that it didn't reach far enough when I folded it, or when I finished the fold. It's probably folded about, it's folded almost in half. I'm not really exact about it. Working with these ribbons is a little bit more just kind of like touch and go because they're so sheer. I'm kind of figuring it out as I go. And I said this in the beginning, but for those of you guys who did not hear, maybe weren't here yet, the peaceful pinning live streams, I don't really explain step by step, although I'm happy to answer any questions, guys, so please keep the questions coming. But if you want like a step-by-step full tutorial, we do have those on the channel as well that go through measurements, sizes to cut your pieces, all that stuff. And we even have printables like supply lists and things like that. So this is really neat because the stripes are creating this pattern when you fold it, because it's so sheer. You can see the stripes coming from underneath. So that's pretty cool. Hi, Debbie. Good to see you again. Hey, Robin. Glad to see you guys made it today. I'm trying to be really delicate with this because it's got these glittery things on it. I can see they're like falling off kind of easily, so trying to be super delicate as I'm working with this. I'm hoping that the stripes themselves are going to help to hide some of those pins from below. It's always a thing with ribbon this sheer. Hi, Teresa. I made these years ago when I first found your videos. I'm going back to make, oh, you're going back to making them again. Great. That's good. Very happy to hear that. Phil said, I watched a bunch of your videos last night. Loved the reindeer. The reindeer are so cute, aren't they? And that's with this same pattern, the basic star pattern, just a different arrangement of colors. Debbie said, I watched the ginger video last night. Yes, you were saying that yesterday that you collect the gingerbread. So how did you like that ornament? Isn't it cute? It's a pretty simple one. I just realized I left my phone over at the other side of my office and it's dinging. So hopefully that's not too loud in the background. Debbie said, so cute. Yeah, I love that one. Those are a nice, like, simple, quick one to make. They make really great gifts, too. So far, so good. It's going to be this next 4 pieces that I'm really going to have to watch those pins from underneath. It seems like even though this is so sheer, by the time we've got to this part, we've built up enough layering from below that it's going to be okay, I think, with those pins, because I'm really not seeing them. And even if we do, I almost wonder if it's going to look like it's part of just the glitter of the stripes and stuff. I apparently really liked this ribbon when I bought it because I bought a few rolls of it, so I was hoping it would it would work out. Yeah, I really can't see the pins. Okay, good deal. This is Christmas ribbon, but I thought it had like a fall vibe, so I thought it would be nice for this time of year. Good morning, Callie. All right, layer 2. I've got glitter everywhere. All right, so I'm going to continue with the cutting the edges off of the gold. I'm folding it like 2/3 of the way over. Nothing exact, but just enough to help with like the sheerness. I'm trying to double it up a little bit since it's so sheer. Robin said that's very pretty. Thanks, Robin. Amy said that's looking so cool. The initial gold and then the stripe makes it look like a long shooting star. Oh, that's cool. I didn't think of that, but yeah, you're right. And then Carmen said, I like how the gold threaded edge pops the solid gold. Yeah, I like that too. It's different because the rest of it's got like this more brown glitter, but then it's got that gold edge. It's pretty interesting. I'm really liking how the stripes look showing through from underneath. Which I didn't really expect that. This one's definitely going to be sparkly. I'm trying to see in the video if you guys are being able to see this, how sparkly this is. I think it is kind of coming through pretty good under the lights that I've got above me. It's got a lot of sparkle. I think this is going to look really pretty under the lights of the tree. Kelly said, I like the gold edge. Yeah, I do too. It's neat. I know I said this the other day, I think on the first day that I did the ribbon ornament, I think that was on Monday or Tuesday. The edges, when they have like a prominent edge like this, it really brings out the star pattern, I think. And it just gives your eye something to follow out from the center. Okay, so far so good, I think. I don't know if this piece is long enough. I might need to cut a longer piece. See. Yeah, I think that's okay. The problem with folding the pieces over so much with this sheer ribbon is that then you don't really have as much reach down when you finish this fold, when you finish this triangle. And so you have to be careful that the edges here do overlap the neighboring triangles enough so that the next layer will hide this edge. So if you find that when you fold this down, this edge here is like way up here, then your piece isn't long enough. Kelly said, I can see the sparkle. I'm glad. It's really neat. Amy said, makes me want to go out and buy some glittery line ribbon. Yup, I know. I'm glad I can inspire you with this. You're welcome. You're welcome for the new addiction. I should say sorry, since you might walk out of the store with a whole cart full of ribbon, which is what I end up doing all the time. That's why I have so much ribbon piled up that I need to get through. It's been awesome doing these lives and like making these, because it's been such a long time since I did these ribbon ornaments. I've had this for absolutely ever. Sometimes they'll have like a date on here, but I don't see one on here. It's definitely from probably a decade ago, at least. I got that at Michael's. And then this one, manufacturing date was June 2012. So I probably bought it somewhere soon after that. And this was from Joanne. I haven't been to Hobby Lobby yet since like the Christmas season of things started, but they usually have a pretty good selection of ribbon. And of course, I always love Joann's ribbon. We don't have that anymore, that option anymore. But Michael's also has some really nice ones. At least they used to. Okay, so see how this one's like it's barely reaching. It comes to about here where the tip of my finger is. I think that's going to be okay. My next layer should overlap that and it should be fine, but it was iffy. It's close. Carmen said, me too, Amy. Debbie said, I'm all about the glitter and bling. Me too. I love the glitter. We were talking about that the other day with the fabrics. I think it was yesterday. How a lot of the fabric manufacturers have reduced their glittery and metallic fabrics in the last couple of years, which is really a big disappointment. Kelly said, Hobby Lobby has 50% off all of it now. I walked out with $80 in ribbon on Tuesday. Well, the nice thing about it, I'll make you feel better for your money spent, is you can really make it stretch. These big rolls, they can really, really stretch. I mean, that's why I cut these pieces in half lengthwise, because then you get twice as much out of it. And that really helps. And then on the outer layer, I'm cutting them a little bit shorter. The first 4 pieces of that second layer of brown, I cut a little shorter because more of it's covered up. And so I don't need the length. And then with these last 4 pieces on that layer, I made them a little bit bigger because we see more of it on the pattern. And then for these last 8 pieces on this half, I do like probably like a little bit in between. I'll measure it for you actually. I really try to make it stretch as much as possible. All right, so I'm just a hair over 3 inches. I'm like well, let me go to the beginning of the tape measure. I'm like 3 1/8 inches here. And that might even be a little long. Probably could get away with a little bit less than 3 inches. Okay, so I cut 4, but now I can cut these in half lengthwise and I'll have 8. And I don't want to forget, you know what's funny is the lines are starting to look like they're a little more even now, the stripes. Yeah, look at that. They're all like evenly spaced from the edge. Those first 4 pieces I cut, that part of the roll, I guess one of the stripes was really close to the edge and the other stripe was a little further away. As we move down the roll, it's changing a little bit. Well, that's good. That means it doesn't really matter what order I put them on in. Let me get a sip of my coffee, guys. Sally said, do you think you'll do a Kimikomi? Kimikomi. I never say that right. Debbie said, what is a Kimikomi ornament? Those are the ones where you tuck the fabric into the grooves. We've got a couple of patterns for those here on the channel. We don't really focus on that kind. But yeah, one day I probably would. I don't have as easy of a time with those as I do with the regular quilted, like the folded ornaments, but they're really fun. So yeah, I am definitely open to suggestions from you guys of what you would like to see me make, because I plan to do these peaceful pinnings 5 days a week going forward, or at least I'm going to do my best to do that. So if there's a particular pattern you'd love to see me do here, I'd be happy to take those suggestions. My team and I actually were talking today about ideas for videos here on the channel. And I think it was Kennedy or Lydia that brought up doing the ASMR style videos, which I didn't even know what that was until a couple of weeks ago, but I guess some of you probably do know this. But with just like the sound, with complete quiet, with maybe a little music in the background, really low, but just the sound of like the pins and the, you know, pinning and the folding and all that stuff. We were thinking about that. I think that would be nice. Let me know what you guys think. In fact, I was kind of planning to talk less than this when I started doing these streams. In the title, I have low talk in the title of it, but then I get to talking. I get to yapping. Teresa said, I love the snowmen. The snowmen are adorable, aren't they? Catherine said, greetings from Orlando. You're my neighbor, Catherine. Thanks for putting into Spirit of Creating ribbon ornaments. I've kept your Christmas ornaments videos to watch again. Thank you, Catherine. I hope you'll give it a try if you haven't already. I love making these. Some of you guys already know this, but I learned to make these when I was like the old basic style quilted ornaments, but I did learn with ribbon from my mom, who learned it at a craft store demonstration. And it just stuck with me for my whole life. And I'm 47. Am I 47? Yes. Now, and I've been making them ever since. I love it. They are nostalgic to me. I couldn't imagine my Christmas tree without these ornaments on them. Kelly said, have you ever considered doing an advent calendar? The elements of the ornament could be broken down into various days, maybe 2 or 3 ornaments during the 25 days. I have never thought of that idea, but I love that. That is so cool. Huh. I'm going to give that some thought, Kelly, and maybe bring it up to some of my team and see what they think of that. I do like that idea a whole lot. Yeah. I like the idea of, doing something where it's like over time and you get a little bit by bit. That's a great idea. Catherine said 1990s. I remember when I saw a Christmas ornament created from decorative plaid ribbon, makes pine cone style, covering the foam egg shape. We have a pattern for that, a video tutorial for that on the channel too. I love those. Debbie said, I also watched the snowman ornament last night. Adorable. Thanks, Debbie. I'm glad you liked it. Carmen said, you must have hundreds of ornaments. I would say that I may have thousands of ornaments. I've definitely made thousands. I have saved so many of them. I finally started not saving so many, but it's hard not... I feel like every time we come out with a new pattern or a new just design or whatever, I always want to keep at least one or two of every single one that we do because I love them. And it's like I have to force myself to like do something with them. My entire attic is full of ornaments. Amy said, I've been trying to figure out how to make a Santa round ornament like the reindeer, just not there yet. Thought it would be fun to use cotton balls for the beard. That is a cute idea. You know what, Amy? We have a Santa version of the parasol pattern. Parasol pattern is one of our paid patterns in our shop. However, there's a couple of other tutorials on this channel that use that fold in that pattern, and we've got a Santa version with white fur going around the center and everything. It's really, really cute. I'm trying to think of a way I could find it and show you a picture. Callie said, I do crafty advents every year and would love an ornament making calendar. I think that sounds like such a cool idea. So aside from that parasol one, I don't think that we have shown this yet, but our December Christmas Club pattern and kit has a Santa theme as well. I guess that's all I should say for now. We haven't shown it yet. But it is a Santa theme and it's very, very cute. I need to, before, like maybe by next week, I need to find a way to set up where I can screen share here on this live with my streaming software. I know it can be done, I just haven't set it up or figured out how to set it up where I can show you guys whenever I'm bringing up something, some idea, I can show you instead of just talking about it. Amy said, I look forward to next month. Yeah, I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's so cute. This is definitely blingy. I'm trying to pin as close to the edge as I can because it's so sheer. I don't want the ribbon to just pull right through, but then also not so close that I can't hide the pin. It's a balance. I'm getting low in my pin bowl, but I'm waiting until I get all the way to the very, very bottom before I put new pins in because I need to wipe it out. There's like glitter and fabric dust in there that I want to get out before I dump new pins in. Teresa said, that is turning out beautiful. Thanks, Teresa. I'm happy with it. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure what was going to happen with this one with this sheer ribbon. I'm going to be wearing glitter for the rest of the day. Okay, so I only have one more piece of the gold pre-cut here, so let me cut some more. Oh, looks like I got one longer piece on the roll. Clearly I gave up on something when I started that roll of ribbon because I had pieces pinned to the roll that I had not used. I cut them but didn't use them. So my first 4, I'm going to cut just a little shorter because they don't need to be so big. And then I need 8 more for the 3rd layer. We'll set these guys aside for a second. Might have cut that one a little too short. We'll see. Debbie said, this ornament is going to be stunning. Thanks, Debbie. So starting side 2, just gonna make sure I line it up with the first side so that everything comes together nicely. It's hard to see where the line is. It's so sheer. Okay, we have just one good pin left and one bent pin, so I'm gonna refill here. Debbie said, you were welcome. Catherine, gorgeous and inspiring use of your decorative ribbons. Thankful over the years I bought seasonal bargains, decorative ribbons from Joanne, Walmart, Michaels. I'm glad I saved those ribbons. Yep. I know, especially now that they're harder to find. And especially now that Joanne's is not here anymore. Robin said, I can't wait to see it. Kelly said, the pre-lined balls from your store are so helpful. Save so much time not having to prep the ball. I'm really glad to hear that, and I agree. I feel like I've become so spoiled with the pre-lined foam. It makes it really easy, and then you don't have to worry about the lines showing through either if you're drawing them on. Especially with like sheer ribbon like this. If anybody's thinking I'm crazy to reach into my pin bowl like this, I just feel like it's way easier to get the pins out when they're loosened up just a little bit. So a little pain up front, and it makes it a little easier. And I do have a link, by the way, down below to where you can get these pins in bulk. I don't sell them. They're from a different website than mine, but it's the best way to get these and the cheapest way when you're making lots of these ornaments. Yeah, the pre-lined balls are so much better, I think. Although for those of you guys who are new to this and maybe you have like regular 3-inch foam balls, we have templates available and video tutorials on this channel that will show you how to line your balls yourself. You don't even have to really line them. I mean, originally I learned how to make these with no lines. You just eyeball, but having the lines makes it so easy to get both halves to line up and keep everything really nice and straight. I mean, it almost makes it a no-brainer, and everything lines up really nicely. Catherine said, "Hi Stacy, I'm 86 years old and so enjoy making the ornaments. It's so relaxing. Hope you and your family are well." Thank you, Catherine, and I love hearing that. It's one of those things that when after you learn how to make them, it only takes making a couple of them and you get the pattern down by memory. You can just sit and watch TV, sit in a comfy chair and just almost do it mindlessly. When my kids were little, I would like pre-cut a lot of the fabric and ribbon for these and then just bring it along with me. I'd make myself a little kit, a little basket, and I'd have the pre-cut pieces with me and my foam ball and my pins, and I would sit in the car if I was waiting for something, waiting for them, like if my kids were in Taekwondo when they were little, I'd be sitting there making ornaments and just whatever. Kelly said, "Aw, Catherine, that makes my heart happy." Hi, Del Marie. Good morning. Oh, I missed you, Catherine. Catherine said, "Hello, Catherine." We have two Catherines. I'm 73 years, and I take care of my 94-year-old mom who knits, crochets. We will be making ornaments from inspiration of OG. I love that. Enjoying crafting together with mom. That is amazing and wonderful. Louise said, love watching you do these videos. I've picked up so many tips from them. Appreciate you and your team. Thank you, Louise. I'm really happy to hear that. I'm really enjoying doing this, you guys. It's been really been really fun to just kind of chit chat and make them and just find out what questions you have and things like that in a way more natural way. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying talking to you. Okay, so I'm looking at my stripes, and yeah, they're still pretty evenly spaced here. So we've got these four for the first 4 pieces of this layer, and then this will make 4 more for the second 4 pieces of that layer. So see, having those lines there just really helps ensure that as you start placing the second half pieces, it all just ends up lining up with the first half. And then when you've got it hanging on the tree, no matter what side you look at it, it's all nice and even, which I feel like makes a big difference with these. Catherine said, my mother lived to be 101. Wow, she crocheted almost to the end. It is so great to have your mother do the crafts with. Robin said, I do the same thing with the pins. and they get stuck in my fingers. They don't hurt? Is that what you're saying? I know. You get used to it though. It's like you just end up getting used to it, and it's just a thing. Needleworker. Hi, needleworker. I don't think I've seen you leave a comment yet. What is the best pattern to do as a beginner? I did these many years ago with my mom and would like to pick it up again. Needleworker, I have a playlist on this channel called the Basic Star Workshop. I would start with that. It is this same pattern, but we do it with fabric instead of ribbon. The fabric's a little easier. And I did a live stream last week with fabric if you just want to get an idea of what it looks like. But it's an easy pattern. And that workshop is very detailed. It takes you through starting with what supplies you need. There's a printable supply list. It's totally free, by the way. Printable supply list that you can download. And then it takes you step by step through making the pattern. That's in video 2. And then video 3 is embellishing, like making the bows and adding things to it, whatever you desire. So I think that's a good one to start with. And it teaches you this fold, the one I'm doing here in this pattern, which is the basic triangle fold. It's the easiest, most basic fold out of all the patterns that we have. And we use it all the time. So it's a good one to learn. Robin said the basic star is the best pattern to start with. Yeah. It's a good way to just like find out if you like making these too, you know, a good free, easy, low barrier to entry way to find out if you love making these or not. I think you will love it. They're very fun and addicting. And it's a great way to use up scraps. We were talking about this yesterday. Lots of you guys are quilters and have tons and tons of fabric, and you have tons and tons of scraps. And with these little pieces, it's just such a good way to use up your scraps. And a lot of people in our Ornament Girls Club make them to match quilts that they've done with the scraps from those quilts, which is the coolest. Mary said, do you push the pin straight in or at an angle? They're pretty much going straight in. Sometimes if I'm trying to like manipulate what's happening with the fabric, not necessarily with this pattern, but with some of them, I'll do it at an angle. And we do have a couple of folds that you have to put them at an angle because you're pulling so much that it almost needs to be at an angle so that you have a little strength to pull on the and tug on the fabric. But generally, I'm pushing them straight in. Callie said, beware, making them can become addictive. Yep. I make at least one ornament a day while watching TV. One ornament a day, that adds up. That's awesome. Teresa said, they are so addicting. I've been here in this group from the beginning. Teresa, I know you have been here from like the very, very, very get-go of the club. Thank you very much too. I appreciate you. This month marks the 10th anniversary of our first Ornament Girls Club. And it also, I can't remember exactly when I started my business, The Ornament Girl, but it was around 2004 or 2005. And it was right in like October, November of that year, because I started selling my ornaments on eBay for a little extra Christmas money at the time. And that would have been, so that's about 21 years ago. Let me do one at a time here. Teresa said, love it and can't believe it has been 10 years. I can't either. I had no idea what it would turn into. When I did the first month of the club, November 2015, I kind of did it on the spur of the moment. I put together a kit. I got the fabric from Hobby Lobby. I wasn't buying wholesale yet. I was still buying it retail at the stores. And I put together like 250 kits. And I was like, I'm going to see how this goes. And I think it was 250 because I remember that I put a PayPal button on my website. I was like, I'm opening this club. It's going to be a monthly subscription. And I left. Like I had walked away after the first little while I walked away, and when I came back there was like 340 sales. I was like, I don't have 340 kits. So I had to go to Hobby Lobby all over the place. We like went up and down the coast because at the time we lived in Port Charlotte, Florida, and I went to every Hobby Lobby that I could possibly find to get enough fabric to finish those kits. It was pretty cool and scary. Kelly said, I think it's great that you can craft and make profits from doing something that you love, and to be doing it for 10 years is amazing. Thank you, Kelly. You know what's funny? My phone has been dinging. I don't know if you guys can hear it. I thought it was across the room and I just realized it's in my pocket. Let me turn the sound off. I'm just making sure that I don't have any emergencies here. What do we do before phones, right? Now it's like, oh, my phone's ringing. What if it's an emergency? What do we do before cell phones, I should clarify? When we could carry it around with us and be instantly available. That's a wonky pin, but I'm gonna try to get it in there. There we go. I don't like to waste pins. Pretty much takes a completely bent in half pin or a pin with no point to make me throw it away. So this is a good example of what I was talking about before, and it's really not this piece that's too big, it was this piece that's too small, but I'm gonna see if I can make this work. I think I got this a little too low anyway. These first couple pieces I did way too small. So to make this stretch, I'm gonna use 2 pins here, right after I talked about not liking to waste pins. And I'm gonna bring this neighboring pin down a little so it won't be showing. And that side will be okay. And it looks like this side is okay. I think I've got the same problem over here. So we'll just kind of spread these out a little bit. I'm still trying to make sure I only have one line running down the center, but I have a little bit of wiggle room with that because of this ribbon being so sheer. It's actually hard to see the line at all anyway. So that's giving me a little bit of wiggle room. Whoops. I bent it, but still got it in there. Hey, Gretchen. Gretchen said, hi, I will watch in a little bit. Just had a biopsy. Oh, that's not fun. Made 3 more ornaments last night. I can't wait to hear what you made. And I really pray for the best results possible from your biopsy as well. All right, we're getting there with this one. Almost done our 3rd layer, only 1 more layer to go. I am gonna do a little trimming after this layer. So I'm just gonna trim up these loose bottoms. I didn't mention this, and I should have, but I was keeping my pins up at the level that I know is going to be the center where the 2 halves reach each other. That way I can easily trim off this excess. And you always want to be careful your scissors don't go into the pieces from side 1 like what I almost just did a second ago. I always try to make sure I can see the end of my scissors before I cut. Because if you cut inside 1, that's a hard thing to fix. Okie dokie, so we have just 1 more layer to go. Needleworker said, have to go, Judy's call. Watch the rest of the video later. Everyone have a blessed day, and you also have a blessed day. Debbie said, Gretchen, keeping you in thoughts and prayers. Yep. Callie said, I use duckbill scissors when I'm trimming. What are duckbill scissors? I don't think I know what that is. But I'm very curious. I'm covered in glitter, you guys. I'm going to be carrying the holiday spirit with me for the rest of the day. Sprinkling glitter everywhere I go. Debbie said, I cut out 6 ornaments last night, ironed and folded all 72 pieces for pinwheel ornaments. That is a feat. But you know what, Debbie? Now the ornaments are going to go so fast. Getting that part done is the hardest part. Marie said, yes, love duckbill. I'm going to have to Google that. Because I don't know what that is. Maybe I know what it is and I don't know that I know. But I don't recognize that name. Oh, okay, they're using applique. Del Marie said the scissors protect the fabric underneath where you cut. Okay. Huh. I'm gonna have to look that up. Kelly said they're used for applique, and there is a wide flat side that covers the fabric that you don't want to cut. It sounds like that would be the thing to use though for that trimming, to protect that other side of the ornament. Robin said the pinwheels are so much fun. I love making the pinwheels. I said this the other day, but so I don't want to sound like a broken record. But when we were first putting together a no-sew version of those pinwheels for an ornament, I wasn't really that excited about it. I didn't really think I was going to like making them that much. And I got hooked immediately as soon as I tried one. Darlene kind of came up with the basic pattern for that. Darlene is one of the designers here at the Ornament Girl. And then Monica, another one of our designers, like put together, she kind of like really finessed the instructions for it. And when I made the first one, after they had put together the instructions, I was totally hooked. They are fun, they're quick, and they're a really good way to use the charm packs, you know, the 5-inch square packs. And you can use patterns or fabrics that have bigger patterns. We don't have a lot of ornament patterns where you can get away with large prints, unless you're like really focusing on the print in the middle of like a snow globe or something like that. But you can see how like in a pattern like this, there's so much folding and you're using such tiny pieces that big prints can get lost. But the pinwheels are an amazing way to use those fabrics. In fact, I got one right here for those of you guys who don't know what we're talking about. Here's one of the Prairie Point pinwheels. I didn't finish the back. But you can use these bigger prints and they are very, very fun and quick. Debbie said quilters use the duck-billed scissors for applique. They allow you to get super close and the scissors stay flat against the fabric. I'm definitely going to look these up. Robin said, praying for you, Gretchen. Teresa, if you are left-handed. Oh, okay. Well, I am left-handed. But you know what's funny is that I do use scissors with my right hand even though I'm a lefty. So I'd probably still be okay. I need to move this one a little bit. just realized I'm way up high on the screen. Sorry guys, let me bring it back a little bit. Hopefully I wasn't going off camera too much. Actually, that it reminds me of a question I have. What device are you guys using to watch this? Like, are you on your phone or a tablet? The reason I'm asking is because YouTube gives you a choice of whether you want to stream, you know, like long, like landscape like this, or if you want to go portrait, so vertical. And I've been going this way that you're seeing because I feel like it shows more, but I haven't really been sure what's the best thing to do, because if you're on a phone, it might be better to go vertical. It looks like everyone's on a phone. Okay. Phone and tablet, I think is what you meant, Phil. Florence said tablet. It would cut the sides off. I'd have to really be careful to stay in the screen. You'd be able to see like this. But with some practice, I could probably do it. Just, you guys will have to tell me if I go off screen. And I'll try to bring it back. I might give that a shot on one of these streams or one of these days. Yeah, Kelly's saying I turn my phone sideways for the full view. I was kind of thinking that most people were doing that. Phil said, love this view. Okay. I just put my phone sideways and it works great, Marie said. Okay. Yeah, that might end up being the best way. And then, so little Loom Lady said TV, and definitely this is the way to go for TV viewing. Okay, I appreciate you guys letting me know that. Sally said I turn my phone to the side and it becomes full screen. Look at me, I'm like leaning my head into the screen. TV. Oh, I already read that one. Florence said I haven't tried on the phone, have only used my tablet, and the view is really nice. Okay, great. Debbie said landscape is better on the phone. I am on a YouTube, so okay, so I just turned my phone sideways. Thanks guys, I appreciate that. YouTube seems to prefer the other way, like their algorithm or something. It seems like they will send the stream out more when you're not landscape. I don't know why. I don't know if that's just like trying to compete with TikTok or something. I'm not sure, because I was looking at different ones just to get an idea of it, and it seems like a lot of streams are not landscape like this. A lot of the crafting streams that I have found. But I didn't really like the idea of trying that because it really cuts the view so much. You guys, I have been addicted to YouTube lately. Like, I don't know what happened, but I went down a true crime rabbit hole. And I watched a couple of content creators who just like tell stories, and I'm so addicted to it, it's ridiculous. I'm like, what did I ever do before I had YouTube? Carrying around a little miniature TV with me all the time. Ta-da! We are there. Last piece. So what I thought was going to be difficult was how sheer this was, but it really turned out to not be an issue at all. Which is great. The biggest issue I'm going to have is getting the glitter off of myself. That's not really a terrible issue to have. And I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen with the band. I'm going to use the same ribbon around the band. I'm hoping by folding it into thirds that it will cover everything, because it did seem to cover everything as I went through my layers. But if worse comes to worse, I could put a layer of the gold underneath. It's funny, it's hard to even see the edges of this. Kelly said, I listen to the true crime podcasts all day while I work. In fact, I was listening to one when I saw the notification of your live pop up. Well, thanks for switching over and watching this, Kelly, but I hear you with the true crime. Teresa said, yep, it happens. Those rabbit holes, they suck you in. I know. Ugh. It's like sad and amazing at the same time. Ugh. My latest channel that I'm watching, her name is Stephanie Harlow. I think Harlow is the last name. Just found her like earlier in the week. I had listened to a couple of other true crime channels, but I'm addicted to her because she goes into like psychology of things. I mean, it's ridiculous. I love it. Okay, we're trimmed up. We're ready to go. And I'm going to attempt this as my band. I do believe I'm going to cut the wire off of this for the band part. You guys, if you were here yesterday, those of you who were here yesterday, and I've already moved the ornament so I can't show you, but I made it so that the gold edge was part of the band going around. But this is different because it's way wider. It would be way too wide to fold it that way. Also, there's a lot of gold lines in here. I think I'd like to not have that in the band. So I'm just going to cut the edges off of this and try to keep this as straight as I can. Catherine said, I have a laptop with 16 landscape type. Okay. Toshiba satellite. It helps me watch arts and crafts videos. 16-inch landscape type screen. That's probably really nice. A nice big screen. I really don't watch much YouTube on TV. I mean, I hardly even turn my TVs on. I never really was a big TV person, and I was never a YouTube person until recently. And I'm always watching on my phone, but I think a bigger screen would be nice. I mean, it's better than regular TV. You get to pick what you want to watch. I'm not sure if this is going to look good. We'll give it a shot, but you know, I think it's going to be too sheer. I don't know. Once it's laying on there, it doesn't look too bad. I do want to think though about how I want the stripes to lay. Maybe fold it in just a little bit more. I start to get it and then my fingers move and I lose it. I'm thinking like letting 2 stripes run down. I actually think that's okay. when I was holding it in the air and being able to see through it, I was like, ugh, I don't know if that's gonna work, but I think it is. You can see a little bit of the pins, but it's not really too bad. Phil said, should you go to Crime Con? I didn't even know that was a thing until I heard somebody talking about it on one of those true crime channels recently. Of course there's a Crime Con, right? Teresa said, I think putting the gold behind it would be pretty. Yeah, it might be. It might help make it a little less busy. I'm also afraid, though, if I put the gold behind it, I'm going to have to be really precise with the folding of this brown one because it's so sheer. You would see everything right through, like the stripes from below that are folded up under. And I don't know if I can be that perfect. This really isn't bad. I can see a little bit of those pin heads, but it kind of blends in with the glittery pieces. Teresa said, but it looks beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, it's different, right? We'll go with that. I do have a couple of ribbon choices here that I got out. I think these two are the same, and this one's all open, so we'll start with that one. This one's a little shredded up. I got a new rack for my office recently, just last week actually, to hang my ribbon on as I've been bringing it up from the shop. And I realized that a bunch of my ribbon rolls were, the hole in the center was way too small to, to fit on there. The rods are way too fat. I'm like, why would they make them this thick? I didn't even think to check that before I bought it. So we like made the holes bigger on some of these so they could fit on the rack. So I've got this pretty brown. I think I'm going to put that as my top bow. And let's see. This gold, I wasn't sure because it's got a lot of gold in it, but I kind of like it. It's like a golden, harvesty kind of gold. So I think I like that with the dark brown. So, and the other one I've got is this one. They're all pretty. I'm thinking maybe I'll do, instead of just doing separate colors like we did yesterday, I think maybe I'll do mixed colors together in the gift bow style. Catherine said, love the way the horizontal band of ribbon works to cover the midline, enhances special effect. Yes, it does, the sparkle. Callie said, I don't know what the ribbon is called, but where do you find the ribbon with the little loops on the edges? The picot edge, I think, is what you're talking about. So it's funny that you asked that. We suddenly cannot find it anywhere. You could probably find it in craft stores. You'll probably find it in like Hobby Lobby, maybe Michael's. But that particular ribbon has become like a purple unicorn. I don't know what it is. And it's not just the picot edge ribbon. There is a lot of ribbon lately that they've stopped making. We're starting to have a hard time finding ribbons that we've, used for years and years and years. For some reason, the picot is one of them. I know a lot of the ribbons that they used to do, like that we used to import from Taiwan. Obviously we're not getting as much of that stuff anymore. Because most of the stuff that you find in Hobby Lobbies and Michael's and stuff is all from overseas, of course. China doesn't really do a lot of good ribbon. We found some, but there's just not a whole lot of that good, pretty ribbon from China. So they're just getting harder and harder to find. Where was I? I think I'm going to do a gift bow with the 3 colors. We're going to mix it up and see how that looks, because I think all 3 of these look good with this. So I'm going to start with the 7-inch pieces. For the first bow, I'll do 1 7-inch of this. So this will be my bottom bow. And then I'll make a second bow after this, and I'll make the pieces just a little shorter so that the loops are a little smaller. Kelly said, I've looked at Michael's and Hobby Lobby and I can't find it anywhere. I wish I had an answer for you. If you find it, please let us know. Tammy, who is, I've mentioned her a couple of times on these lives, she is my, she kind of is in charge of like doing all of our supply ordering and stuff, and she has been having a heck of a time finding ribbons lately. Catherine said, Pico Edge grow grain. I used to buy rolls of this type of ribbon at the fabric stores. It's just like less and less and less of these ribbons. You know what? I think I'm gonna add one more strip onto here. That's gonna make it a little bit of extra loops, but I think it'll be okay. I'm gonna do one more dark brown. I think I just cut that way too long. Can you guys hear my dogs? They're yipping their heads off. Del Marie said, our quilt guild has a holiday party in December and we make a handmade ornament wrapped pretty. Each one is numbered as they are brought. I make an ornament girl ornament this year, ribbon ornament. That's amazing. I bet that goes over really well at a quilt guild. Michelle said, I found some at Dollar Tree, but that was last year, so it probably won't be available anymore. That's a good find. Yeah, I couldn't say. They are definitely getting scarce. Kelly said, I don't hear the dogs. I'm glad. I know I always ask it because it's so loud here, and I think it has to be loud in the background. I'd love to have them in here with me, but a car can't go by without them barking. Catherine said Hobby Lobby has rolls of Pico Edge grow grain ribbons. Okay, I like that, I think. Yes, I do. So I'm going to make another bow with a little bit smaller loops, and I think I will add a little more gold to the top one instead of the dark brown. So I'll do 2 gold strips, and they'll be, I'm going to start with a 6-inch piece instead of 7, and that's going to give me smaller loops so I get a tiered effect. Dabby said, the Pico ribbon I found at Michael's and Hobby Lobby in the Christmas section. I did see some at Walmart in the packages, like the Rick Rack. Okay, that's good to know. So you saw them at Michael's and Hobby Lobby and in Walmart. Kelly said, what kind of dogs are they? They are bratty dogs. They're Portuguese water dogs. And I'll show you a picture. Because that's what I am. I'm one of those people. Here they are. This is Ivy and that's Vigo. She's 3 and he's 5. They are so spoiled. They're my babies. Marie said, not bragging, but the Ornament Girl ornament is one of the most professional and regal ornaments. Thank you. Phil said, just saw Pico, or they also call it feathered edge. Okay. I did not know that. That's really helpful. Is this what you're looking for? Carmen said. I don't know. Do you have a picture? Del Marie said, oh, thank you. Thanks, guys. Yeah, they're my babies. Oh, okay, Amazon might have the Pico Edge. So we buy it in bulk, obviously for the kits and stuff, and we are having a hard time finding it in bulk. That's the thing. But there's some Amazon sellers that do sell in bulk, so I'll definitely check that out. But we are indeed noticing a reduction in like inventory from some of the places that we buy a lot of our ribbons from in bulk, and like they're greatly reducing their color choices. And we're like, oh no. I'm liking the fall vibe of these colors. It's Christmassy and pretty, but it's like a maybe like Thanksgiving-ish. You know, it's hot, it's festive and holiday, but more of a fall vibe. I like that. That is very, very pretty. That's one of the best things about this style bow, where you can mix the colors together. I absolutely love doing that. I do have to get some hanger string. I totally forgot that again, just like yesterday. I have two options here. We have our regular thin, this is very elegant, this kind of string, which I think would look nice. And in fact, I think that's my choice, but I'll still show you the other choice. We have the sparkle string, which is a little bit bulkier. Also very pretty. I don't know, that's a tough one. What do you guys think? And I'll probably put it on with a bead of some type. So sparkle string or the thin string. Which one do you guys like for this? They're both pretty. And I'm thinking, I'm trying to decide what bead. I have these champagne color. Might get a little lost in there, but I think that's a good match. I think that's what I'll attach it with. Okay, we have thin. Kelly said thin. Teresa, I know. Don't you just love when the phone is smarter than you and it knows exactly what you're trying to say? Mary said thin. Phil said, how much is bulk? They have 50-yard spools and the thin string. Well, we end up buying usually a couple thousand yards at a time, but 50 yards is a good size on a spool. We usually do like 50 to 100 yard spools. Okay, the thin. Florence said thin, the other may slightly distract. Okay, guys, thin it is. It's elegant and simple, subtle. You guys, I have such a mess all around me. I kept brushing all the glitter and all the edges of the ribbon off, and you should see what it looks like right off screen. Teresa, thank you for being here. Hopefully I'll see you on the next one. I'm thinking that tomorrow I'm going to do something different than a ribbon one. I've done ribbon 3 days in a row, so might find something different for tomorrow. Okay, get that spread out. Perfect. I love it. Thanks, guys. Very, very, very thrilled with how that turned out. Honestly, you can have so much fun with all these different types of ribbons. I mean, who would have thought that that would turn into that? So cool. I hope I've inspired you guys to go ribbon shopping for the rest of the day. Okay. If you guys have any suggestions for patterns or just themes or anything that you'd like to see me do on one of these streams, let me know in the comments. Even after the stream ends here in just a second, the replay will be available on this channel, and you guys can comment underneath of that. And please make sure you hit like for this video if you enjoyed it. I would really appreciate it. Yeah, pink and teal. I love pink and teal. I love, love, love that color combo. Florence said, thank you so much for sharing. Great tutorial. Looking forward to trying this today. Thanks, Florence. I hope you love trying this. Michelle said, gorgeous. Thank you. Yeah, and if you have any questions too after the fact, please be sure to put them underneath and we will help you out the best that we can. And otherwise, you guys, I'll see you tomorrow. I don't know what time yet. I was telling you guys yesterday, I'm still kind of trying to get my footing with the scheduling of this. Just kind of getting used to doing these each day, but hopefully I'm going to fall into a groove pretty soon. I was also thinking maybe once a week we'll do an evening one. So yeah, that's another thing you can let me know in the comments below after this post, maybe what times. Obviously I can't, accommodate every single time and everything, but still I would love to just hear your thoughts on what times work for you guys. All right. I hope that you guys have an awesome rest of your day. I hope you make an ornament and I'll see you tomorrow. Happy ornamenting, guys.